4 years, 7 months, and 2 weeks exactly to the day. And we've been like 64,000-ish miles. And our Vp44 truck here is asking for a VP. We don't have any codes. It still starts and drives fine, but it's when you put your foot all the way down, it's just, there's no smoke. Our top end fueling is just slowly dying off. It's getting weaker and weaker. Our hard rev limiter, totally gone. Whenever it's the first start of the day, it's like 60-ish degrees now. If I were to start it, let it sit there for 2 or 3 minutes, and then drop it into gear, it would just immediately shut off. Again, because I think our pump is weak. So I'm hoping we fix that as well. And a substantial power increase. If you saw our last dyno video, it only did like 422. Blake said the dyno is about 50 low, but even 472 is still kind of low for it. So we should be closer to the 550, 600 mark at least. But we will get our tired pump off, the new one on, and see where it puts us. Because it's like the only part of the fuel system or anything contributing to making power that we haven't already done. I'm amazed it lasted this long, honestly. And the fact that it's still running and we get to just fix it on our own time scale, that's also pretty cool too. Now our Vp44 is down in there, obviously. So we will have to do the usual tear down. Intake horn, or pull this boost tube out of the way, get our oil dipstick tucked over to the side, and pull our throttle position sensor off, and then we will resume from there. Alright, we got the first set of injector lines down there, throttle position sensor set to the side there, and then next up, he's going to grab that big black connector off the back of the VP, and then you'll be able to see the lines better that he's taken off back there. Currently he's going after number 6 injector line, so that we can pull off the back 3 injector lines there.
Did you just pull this down?
Alright, yeah, you pull that down. That's the little safety locking tab. And then just pull it off the back.
Oh, there it is. Got it.
Just set that over so it's nice and safe. And then you can see, mostly, those are the injection lines we're pulling off the back. Just connect over to there. Zoom out. Once we get those off, then there's going to be a bracket on the bottom of the pump there that we're going to have to identify. And we'll have to get our high pressure line off, as well as our fuel supply line. And then we get onto the other gear pulling fun. On your back set of injection lines there, you're going to do the top one and the bottom one, and then the center one. So you get a lot more room to access it if you can slide the big nuts on the top one and the bottom one back. Then you get into that middle one a lot easier. So, easier-ish. And then the whole set just comes out nice and easy. Make sure to keep your little retainer things that hold the lines together. Don't take those off. That's just a whole bit of mess you don't want to create for yourself. Now we got the PVC crankcase vent off so that he can, up there, turn our keyway on the old pump. You know what the keyway is, that there's the keyway, and we don't want that to fall out in our timing case. So we're going to take that and put it straight up and down as we can. That way when we take our nut off, the little thing stays there and doesn't fall in. Alright, we have our engine barring tool down low. Our pump nut should just come loose here. Ooh, there we go, finally.
Or so I hope. I didn't get to see the tool in the back, but it doesn't look like it's moved. So
it definitely came loose there.
Yeah, but let's...
I'll attempt to show you down in here the keyway. And what, won't my light turn on? Jubal light you can shine down in there. Oh, bear with us, really got off the camera angle. There we go. Okay, you got your screw hole on the right and then the left, and that little indentation at the top. That is the keyway that you want sitting with your top dead center line here. And now that we got the engine turned over and that nut broken loose, we can fish that out carefully. And there's going to be a washer behind that as well. The nut would be really hard to drop down inside your case there. But that washer you can see behind it, be super careful when you're fishing that out. I'd say put your finger on the end of the shaft there until you can fish it out far enough. So if your finger's on the shaft, then it will go to your finger rather than dropping in your case. If you drop it in the case, then the whole front of the motor has to come off here, and that is super annoying. And then if the nut doesn't just come loose by smacking your breaker bar or whatever, you can hold it with the alternator over there. Our belt is slightly worn, so our alternator is not holding it. So now that we have our pump, nut, and the lock washer off, we are going to take our gear puller here that we got from Amazon, screw it into the two holes in the gear, and we will pull that off. It should give a distinctive kind of pop when it releases. I got this and the barring tool to hold the motor still to get that off on Amazon for like 25 bucks. Overnight shipping.
Your engine barring tool is going to go over here on the passenger side of your transmission where the engine meets with it. Goes up in there. You can either tighten it and then hold it on like the frame or something, or you just have another tall person help hold it while you release the big nut from the front.
And there we have our old pump out with the 4 nuts there. It's going to go 1, 2, 3, and 4. And there are studs in the truck that will sit on. So now we are going to take note where our keyway is sitting here in accordance to that dot. And then we're going to move this one, rotate it over just a hair more, so they're generally in the same area. That when we go to put it back in the truck, it will line up with the gear as smoothly as it can. Also, we need to take, this is our push lock fitting for the feed line from the air dog. That needs to go right there to that one. And then that port is going to be for the metal line up there. That gold shiny one right there in the center. That's the high pressure return line that goes back to the tank. And then the line that looks like it has that black pool noodle on it with the zip tie, that is the push lock fitting that goes back to the air dog where we get our fuel supply from. And then now that there's some light shining through it, you can see the gear kind of hanging down there, still in the case. A little bag of goods that comes attached to the new pump. Our O-ring that goes on there. So this bolt and these 2 washers that it comes new with, you're going to take the original ones and those go with the core that you're going to send back or you already sent in or whatever. So there's that. And then these ones, oh, these are for the high pressure one, aren't they? Don't, that is the high pressure.
Yeah, no.
What are these for then?
It's a good question.
So it's just this?
As far as I know, it's just that one. Because there's nothing else on the other side of it.
Interesting. Well, there's these 2 washers, and if we figure out where they go, we'll let you know. And now it's time to put this on with some oil and then get it back in the truck. Now, for record's sake, oh, bring it back here. Oh, thank you. As you will see, we have our old pump tapped for our Quadzilla tuner up there. This new one, however, the way I have chosen to financially tackle this situation, it does not come with a warranty as soon as we tap it. So we are going to put it in the truck, make sure all is well, then we will tap the wire. However, it has this coating that comes all the way up, and to get the wire accessible like that in the truck would be very difficult. So we did just take the coating back a little bit, zip tied it there, but the wire is completely untapped as of now. We will, again, put it in there, go drive it, make sure it's good. Then we will take our tap here, place it right there, and we will be able to go fast again. One more thing I think I forgot to note. You will also have to transfer the bracket that's on the bottom of the Vp44 that is supposed to mount it to the engine block. But since our VP has already been replaced, someone decided that they were not going to put that bracket back, so we don't have to worry about it. New pump is in. All 4 mounting bolts are tight. This is normally where you would do the bracket bolt at the bottom, but again, we don't have that bracket. So now we are going to get the nut and washer put back on the gear, readjust the barring tool down there to go the other way, and then we will get the pump nut for the gear torqued to 125 foot-pounds. Fuel lines are all back in place. Plug is back on the Vp44. High pressure return line is done. Now we're just going to take our throttle position sensor from right there, put that back in place, throw our intake horn on, oil dipstick back in place. Now it will be time to bleed it again and get it running. Alright, everything's back together. Crankcase filters down there. Throttle position sensors back with the plug on the bottom. Intake horn, clamps are all tight. We got our boost gauge on the back. Only thing not attached is our feed line from the air dog. That is part of our bleeding procedure. I will go turn the key on in there, and as soon as he gets fuel out of that line, he will snap it on and say when. Then we have, what, 1 and 3 you said?
Yeah, 1 and 3.
We have 1 and 3 on the injector lines cracked. So we will just crank it over until we get fuel there. And we should have a fixed truck. It wasn't technically broken, it was just weak. Then we'll go drive it around a bit. And then we have our pump tap wire over there. Good to go as soon as we confirm that our VP is a solid unit there. Fuel came out of that line almost immediately. Just turn the train horn off. Save all the power for the starting. Waiting for our delayed wait to start light. There we go. Good to go up there still? What do you see? Alrighty, we will check our connections, tighten those fuel lines up, and then it should fire over. Everything is tightened up. Time to get it fired up. Let's do starting fluid so we don't kill the batteries again. Alright, going again. Oh, almost. Give it some. Come on. All right, going again. So close. Well, I want to stay running. There we go. It took a minute, but some starting fluid and the help of the right foot, she's running. It just fired right back up after sitting for about 10 minutes just fine. One of the most notable things that it's done ever since we got the trans built with the billet triple disc converter is as soon as you drop it into gear for the first time of the day, if you don't let it idle in neutral for at least 10 minutes or pedal it with the throttle, it would just immediately shut off. And so we're hoping that's just a weak Vp44 not being able to keep up with the converter grabbing a hold of the motor. So let's see what it does. Alright, well that's 6, so that still does that. Waiting for our ECM to turn on. No light, but it dinged. Alright, well I don't know why it does that, but at least it turns on and it's still running. So, to Ace Hardware we go. While he's inside getting our Chipotle, let's go over. Oh, there we go. The difference I've already seen with that gauge there. Now, we still haven't tapped the pump, but even I stood on the brakes and started to spool it up just a little bit at the stoplight. Not filming, but we will get it on there. And it's already, without the pump tap, spooling up way better than it did before. And before, even with the pump tap, it would just smoke like a train, and then eventually it would decide to spool the turbo. And overall, it feels just about as powerful, slightly less than it was tapped before. And we haven't even gotten to actually upping the fuel yet. Which is also another difference I noticed. When I lay into it, it just continues to smoke. Not like a train, but like it doesn't seem to run out of smoke or fuel like it was doing before. Alrighty, bystanders have left. Let's spool it up just a little bit. That would have taken ages just to achieve that even before. And that was just a little baby spool because I don't want to be too obnoxious here in the middle of the parking lot. Well, we drove it all of maybe 10 total miles, and we're already gonna tap the wire. Goes right down in there. It's gonna be on the top wire exposed. I will also show you on the pump that's not on the truck. Alrighty, goodbye warranty. That's okay though, we won't need it because this little VP is just going to be a solid 100% reliable unit that makes us some power. Fast forward a week into the future, we had driven our new VP all the way to
Neosho, Missouri.
That's where we went. We went to Missouri, bottom left corner, and then we drove over to St. Louis, and then we drove all the way back across again, all the way back here to Denver. And we did have the lower injection line, the lowest one, the nut completely backed off. So I would say, check your nuts after your install and you put some miles on it. But otherwise, all of our VP issues so far have been fixed. We still don't have more RPMs like we were hoping, but all of our fuel is there like it should be. And we do have a tuner mod here, which we're about to go test drive. But overall, the VP was definitely getting weak. We have replaced it. Oh, the dyno runs. We went to the dyno in Missouri as well, and that's what we're going to finish out with here. So you'll see those results, and now it's nitrous install time. So make sure you hit that subscribe button, because we got this power fixed. Now we're going to go test drive our tuner mod. That'll be a whole separate video. Hopefully that works out for us. And then once we get that nitrous on, it should make those dyno pulls look like nothing. So, onward on the road to power.